Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, the first season of Loki finished about 3-4 weeks ago, and the BTS of it, like the behind the scenes, came out like a week after that. And I watched both. So, we're gonna talk about this mind-blowing show. First off, I hate to say it. I really, really hate to say it, but I was disappointed. Personally, I was very disappointed. Once again, one of my favorite characters in the MCU gets a TV show, but is lackluster at best. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some episodes that were really good, but the season as a whole was just, I don't know. It just didn't work for me. I gave the first episode a pass because, we got to build the world. We got to tell the audience, hey, this is where Loki is. This is the TVA. And the second episode ended up being so much better. Like, I loved the second episode. That was probably one of my favorite episodes in the whole season. Then there was episode 3, which ended up being kind of a filler episode. Like, me and my roommate kind of agreed with this after we watched it that first night. It was like, it felt like it was just there to fill up space. Though I will acknowledge that it gave us some information about Loki and Sylvie's connection and how that can affect the timeline. And it also kind of gave us a hint into how they are going to end up feeling towards each other later on in the season. But then episode 4 ended up being really good. And episode 5 was, that was perfection right there. And I'm kind of biased when I say that just because I love the idea of several Lokis in one room. Like, imagine just the chaos that happened. Well, you don't even have to imagine the chaos. It happened. But then there was the finale. First off, I want to pat myself on the back because I had predicted in my Loki trailer video that Kang would at least make some sort of an appearance in the show. And by appearance, I really just thought that he would be mentioned because, again, Renslayer is his lover in the comics. But they went beyond that. Instead of mentioning him, they brought out a variant of him who actually is in the comics, He Who Remains. I don't quite remember his role, but I remember he was a variant of Kang and that he's like a really old, like, TVA god or whatever. So this is where the disappointment comes in, though. As much as I'm happy with how the finale ended, I didn't like the finale as a whole. Again, I watched the BTS episode that came on Marvel's Assembled the week after the finale ended. And I get what the director was trying to do. I just personally was not a fan of it. Mainly because, I don't know, when it comes to finales, I guess I'm so used to the great idea that they're exciting. Like, they get the audience on their feet and be like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Is it gonna win? Is he gonna lose? This is the end. What do we do? But instead of that, we got a whole episode of He Who Remains, Sylvie, and Loki just talking for like 40 minutes. And again, I understood why. Like, we kind of get to see He Who Remains, like, power. You get to see who he is. We get to see the man behind all of this. And, like, we kind of get hints that he's trying to get out of what he's in so he can bring back his other variants. We kind of get a hint of that when he's kind of manipulating Sylvie into, killing him and betraying Loki, which he successfully did. It was just very boring for me. But again, I'm so ingrained, or I'm so used to the idea of the finale always being exciting and action-packed, or, getting the audience on the edge of their seats. And this one didn't, This one, it just felt a little boring until the very end. I don't know. But I do understand what the director was trying to do. I just personally was not a fan of it. Though I can't appreciate that little moment in his little explaining scene, where he freezes for a moment and looks to his left, right? One of the two. And there's a brief, like, red glow on his face as he says, "We just crossed the threshold." I said that weirdly. We just crossed the threshold. Sorry guys, my S's are bad. Anyway, there was theories that was when the timeline was breaking apart, but personally, I think that it was when Wanda became the Scarlet Witch. Because I looked on TikTok and someone was kind enough to make a TikTok where they show that scene of him being like, we just crossed into the threshold, comparing it to the exact moment when Wanda became Scarlet Witch. And like, you see them both like side by side or up and down from each other. I'll have to see if I can put that TikToker's name on my info thing, because I just found that very interesting, and it really made me have to remember that this guy is seeing everything that's happening on the timeline while he's still talking to these guys. But again, some people think it's just the timeline starting to break apart because Sylvie's going to end up killing him anyway. And I think the timeline and him both knew that. I like to think that that was when Wanda became the Scarlet Witch, because her becoming Scarlet Witch is also kind of a catalyst into the multiverse happening. So now that she's a Scarlet Witch, maybe that kind of contributes to the timeline breaking apart. Especially because you remember in WandaVision, she heard her sons call out to her, and there's a theory that maybe her son's calling out to her, where her son's calling out to her from one of the other, what did he call it? One of the other dimensions? Because he was like, the dimensions are stacked upon one another. It was dimensions or universes. I don't know. My scientific description of that is flaky at best. But basically, that may have been her sensing her sons from another timeline, alternate universe. And so that's why I think it might be her that he's sensing, and not just the breaking of the timeline. Now that all the variants of He Who Remains are loose, the MCU is going to get into some chaos. But honestly, we saw that coming because we are with the god of mischief and chaos. So, not surprising. The chaos is especially because we know that one of the variants is Kang the Conqueror, who is confirmed to be in the next anime movie, like I mentioned in the previous video with Loki trailer. However, that movie isn't coming out until 2023, so season 2, if it doesn't come out before the Multiverse of Madness, I'm assuming it's going to come out before the Ant-Man movie, and like the finale of season 2 will kind of lead into that movie. I don't know. Maybe that's what's going to happen. I really do not know. As for characters, we will most likely see Renslayer again. Mainly because she's, again, Kang's lover in the comics. To be honest, actually, I think we're going to see her with another variant of He Who Remains and not Kang. Or rather, another variant of Kang. See, this whole variant business is going to get really confusing really quickly, if it hasn't already. As for the TVA, I do think they will be featured in season 2. I mean, why not? But I don't know what their role is going to be, because from what we saw in the season finale, Mobius and oh my god, I forgot her name. I'm so sorry, I forgot her name. Mobius, for now, because I forgot the other character's name, forgot Loki. Like, he doesn't know who Loki is. Okay, either Loki is with another version of the TVA or another variant of the TVA, which, if so, would make this whole time thing even more confusing, if that's the case. Or the TVA like basically lost all memories of Loki and probably even Sylvie too. And if so, I bet He Who Remained was the one to do that, but if so, how did he do that? That's the question. Now that they don't remember who he is, I don't know what their role is going to be in the next season. I don't know if Mobius is still going to help Loki, or if they're all going to start hunting him, thinking that maybe he's the one who's causing all the breaking timelines. Let's go with that. Yeah. And speaking of Sylvie, since I mentioned her, I don't know where she's gonna go. I don't know where her character is gonna go at this point. I'm sure she regrets what she did to Loki and probably realizes that she fell into He Who Remains' trap into making her kill him. Because I'm not kidding, it honestly seemed like he was baiting her and trying to drive a wedge between Loki and Sylvie, which I'm sure a lot of you realize too. However, I don't know whether or not she'll come back. You know, to, like, if she does come back, is she gonna help fix her mistake and try to bring the timeline back and get rid of all these variants? Or is she gonna do something even more drastic? Which, honestly, I don't know how much more drastic we can get with this girl. But we'll just have to wait and see with that. Speaking of He Who Remains, I don't think we're going to see him in season 2. Or, obviously, we're not going to see that variant anymore because that variant is now dead. But I just mean, like, his variants. Either we're going to see them, or we're going to see the destruction they cause and not see them personally. Because, again, Kang is going to appear in the Ant-Man movie. So maybe we won't meet Kang until season finale of season 2. Or we'll see the other variants of him throughout the season, and the TVA is going to help take care of him if they listen to Loki, or, you know, stop Loki from trying to take care of him. Kang, I want to call him Kang, but it's not Kang, it's He Who Remains, because Kang is just a variant of He Who Remains. You see how this is getting confusing? This is gonna be how people are gonna talk now. All because of Loki. Actually, thinking about it, we might see a variant of He Who Remains in the Multiverse of Madness. But I don't think it will be Kang. I think it will just be another variant of both Kang and He Who Remains. I'll have to look through the comics again to figure that out, because I know there are other variants in the comics that were mentioned or shown that I'm not familiar with. We'll see. That's all I really have to say for Loki. Again, while season 1 did disappoint me, I actually look forward to season 2, because again, Loki is one of my favorite characters. But again, that was just my personal feelings. Season 1 was just not great for me. It was good, it was not great. But I'll deal, because again, I love Loki, and I do see where the director was going when she, did this. I'll probably react to more Marvel trailers that come out, especially because No Way Home has yet to come out, and I really want to see that. I'm even thinking of doing a video on Black Widow, but I don't know, because I haven't seen it yet, and I'm not going to see it for a while, and 2, because she's, dead, and her story kind of already ended, and I don't really need to theorize what's going to happen next. Now, before you guys argue against that, my roommate who saw the premiere did tell me the end credit scene, so I know what's going to happen. Okay, I know that what's her name is going to hunt him. I won't say who or what, because I realize there's a lot of people out there who still haven't seen the movie either, so I'm not going to say it. I know what's going to happen in the end credit scene, and I know what that's going to lead to. Natasha just wasn't one of my favorite characters. I wasn't for her. I appreciated her, I just was not for her. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Okay, bye.